The planet Erythra 9 was quiet. Its red desert stretched endlessly beneath a pale sun, and ancient ruins dotted the horizon like the bones of some forgotten world. For centuries, humans had explored distant planets, but few had ever stopped here. Most considered it barren, uninteresting. Yet for Dr. Leora Kane, it was more than just a desert world. Beneath its crust lay secrets that could change the course of history. Leora stood on the edge of a massive excavation pit, her boots kicking up clouds of reddish dust. She wiped sweat from her forehead and adjusted her visor. Around her, a team of scientists and engineers worked with careful precision, lowering scanning equipment and drilling through layers of rock. Their mission was simple yet monumental: find the buried human supercarrier known as Aegis Prime. Legends told of the Aegis Prime as a massive warship built centuries ago, before humanity's influence waned in the galaxy. The ship had been lost during a conflict long forgotten, buried under the sands of Erythra 9. While many dismissed it as myth, Leora had spent years gathering fragments of evidence, tracing energy signatures and decoding old star maps. Today, all her efforts might finally pay off. "Dr. Kane, you need to see this," called out Jalen, her lead engineer. His voice echoed faintly across the pit. Leora hurried over. On the display panel, faint contours appeared in the rock layers, shapes too regular to be natural. "It's huge," she whispered. "Bigger than I imagined." Jalen grinned. "This is just the start. If the sensors are right, we're standing above a ship that could still outrun anything in the galaxy." Her heart raced. The thought of a fully operational human supercarrier hidden beneath centuries of rock was thrilling and terrifying. Humanity had long been scattered across distant stars, its power forgotten. Alien civilizations dominated most systems now, some peacefully, others aggressively. Few remembered the humans as the pioneers and warriors who once shaped the galaxy. "Begin the excavation," Leora said, her voice steady. "Slowly, carefully. We can't risk damaging it." The team worked tirelessly, moving tons of rock and debris. Days passed and the sun moved across the sky, painting the desert in shades of orange and gold. Finally, a faint metallic shimmer appeared beneath the layers of sand. The hull of the Aegis Prime had begun to reveal itself. Leora's eyes widened. Even buried and covered in dust, the ship's scale was astonishing. Its sleek angular surface reflected the sun, a reminder of human ingenuity that refused to be forgotten. "This is it," she breathed. "The Aegis Prime. It's real." As the team celebrated, sensors picked up an unusual energy spike. The ship's ancient systems were beginning to stir. Small lights flickered across its surface and hums of power echoed faintly through the excavation site. Centuries of dormancy were ending. "Leora, something's happening," Jalen said, eyes wide. "The ship, it's waking up." The sound was low at first, almost like a whisper, but it grew steadily. The hull vibrated, subtle at first, then stronger. The Aegis Prime had been built to endure war, to withstand the harshest conditions of space, and its AI systems, dormant but not destroyed, were coming online. From orbit, sensors detected the unusual energy emissions. Alien trade networks noticed the readings immediately. A ripple of concern passed through nearby star systems. Messages and alerts flooded interstellar channels. Unidentified human vessel detected. Potential threat. Leora and her team had no idea that their discovery was about to send waves of panic across the galaxy. By the third day, the excavation was complete. The Aegis Prime rose slowly, like a giant emerging from a long sleep. Dust and sand cascaded off its hull, revealing its full glory. Its engines, ancient but powerful, hummed as systems came online. Nearby, a small alien fleet approached. Their sleek ships cut through space with precision, their sensors focused on Erythra 9. Alien commanders had heard rumors of human remnants on this planet, but they assumed the humans were weak, scattered, and no longer a threat. The sight of the Aegis Prime rising from the desert shattered that assumption. Back on the ground, Leora watched as the alien ships hovered above. "They're here," she said calmly, though her heart pounded. "And they're not sure what they're seeing." The alien fleet sent communications demanding the humans to explain themselves. The humans had no intention of surrendering. Not when the Aegis Prime had awakened after centuries. Not when humanity's legacy demanded recognition. Leora stepped onto the observation deck of the ship, feeling the vibrations of the ancient engines beneath her. "Prepare for full system checks," she instructed. "We need to be ready for anything." The ship's AI, old yet remarkably adaptable, began scanning the surroundings, analyzing potential threats, and reactivating defense protocols. Though designed for war, the AI quickly recognized that the best approach was to protect humanity without starting unnecessary conflict. As the alien fleet approached, the Aegis Prime lifted gracefully, its engines stirring up sandstorms on the desert surface. The sheer scale of the ship, combined with the unexpected awakening, caused hesitation among the aliens. They had never seen a vessel like this, ancient human technology combined with ingenuity that defied time. "Look at them," Jalen whispered, awe in his voice. "They weren't expecting this." "Humans never are," Leora replied, a small smile forming. She could feel the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders, but she also felt the thrill of possibility. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries. Now they had a chance to remind the galaxy what humans were capable of. For the first time in generations, a human supercarrier ruled the skies, not with aggression, but with presence. The aliens, sensing the sudden shift in power, retreated to report what they had seen. Panic spread in their communications. For centuries, humans had been dismissed as scattered survivors, irrelevant in the grand stage of the galaxy. That illusion was shattered. Leora turned to her team. "This is just the beginning," she said. "The galaxy has forgotten us, but it won't forget again. Humanity will rise, not through fear, but through ingenuity, courage, and the strength of our unity." Below them, the desert stretched endlessly. But now it no longer seemed empty. The Aegis Prime had awakened, and with it, a symbol of hope, power, and human resilience. As night fell, the ship's lights glowed softly, casting long shadows across the desert. The humans prepared for the challenges ahead, knowing that their actions would be watched closely by distant eyes. And somewhere, deep in the alien networks, leaders began to whisper, "Humanity has returned." Leora looked up at the stars. "We've slept for centuries," she whispered. "But now, we wake." And with that, the Aegis Prime hummed to life fully, ready to remind the galaxy that humans, no matter how long forgotten, could never be underestimated. The desert winds carried the promise of a new era, one in which humanity's ingenuity, courage, and determination would shine once more. The galaxy had always been a place of power, politics, and secrets. Species of all shapes and sizes, with intelligence far beyond human understanding, shared the vast cosmos. They traded, fought, explored, and sometimes ignored each other. But there was one rule above all: no species dared to underestimate another. Or so they thought. On the edge of the Orion sector, a colossal council hall floated in space. It was an architectural wonder, a combination of organic curves and technological perfection, illuminated by the glow of nearby stars. Thousands of delegates from countless worlds gathered, their forms as diverse as their ideas. Some had limbs that bent in ways no human could imagine, eyes that reflected entire nebulae, and voices that resonated like instruments of a symphony. The Council of Elders convened every 50 years to discuss matters that could affect the galaxy as a whole. This time a new topic had arisen: Earth humans. A small, relatively young species with limited technology, yet strangely resourceful and unpredictable. Many delegates underestimated them, calling them weak, primitive, and inconsequential. But others whispered tales of human stubbornness and adaptability, stories that often ended with a small planet surviving events that should have destroyed it. The session began. A tall, crystalline alien, its body refracting light like a living prism, raised its voice above the hum of conversation. "Honored delegates, the matter is clear. Earth sits in a corner of space that could serve our needs. Its resources are abundant and its population is easily controlled. The proposal is simple. We enslave this species and use their world for labor and expansion." Murmurs spread across the hall. Many delegates nodded enthusiastically. A few looked uneasy, sensing something they could not explain. But the vote was about to happen, and there was little room for hesitation. The voting process in the council was ancient. Each species cast a vote using a mechanism unique to their biology: light pulses, sound vibrations, energy fields, or even simple hand gestures. The final tally would determine the fate of Earth. One by one, species voted. Most were confident. Humans were weak. Humans could not resist. By the time the last vote was cast, the result was clear. Overwhelmingly, the council had decided Earth would be enslaved. Celebrations erupted among many species. Plans for fleets, weapons, and control systems were already being drafted. Some delegates began issuing commands to their subordinates, eager to move quickly before humans could even react. Yet in the midst of the excitement, a few eyes lingered on the small blue planet visible through the hall's massive observation windows. There was something about it, something alive, unpredictable, stubborn. But the majority dismissed it with laughter or arrogance. Meanwhile, on Earth, life continued peacefully. Cities bustled with traffic, schools filled with children, and satellites orbited silently above. Humans had no idea that an entire galaxy had just decided their fate. On a quiet research station in the Nevada desert, a small team of scientists monitored unusual signals. Dr. Elena Rivera, a physicist with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor, noticed patterns in the signals that didn't make sense. "It's almost as if something is watching us," she said, pointing at a screen filled with blinking lights. Her assistant Malik frowned. "Watching us? You mean satellites?" "No," Elena replied. "These signals are too organized. They're too intentional, and they're coming from beyond our solar system." They were not sure what it meant, but a sense of unease settled in. The signals faded, only to return intermittently like a heartbeat. Far beyond Earth, alien fleets began to mobilize. Ships of unimaginable size and power left their home systems, heading toward the blue planet. Each species had a strategy, confident that humans would crumble. Yet none accounted for something that had long been human nature: ingenuity. On Earth, ordinary people went about their lives unaware of the approaching threat. Farmers tended fields, children laughed in playgrounds, and pilots trained in small aircraft and experimental spacecraft. There was no fear, only the rhythm of daily life. But some humans were beginning to notice strange anomalies. Satellites disappeared from tracking systems. Deep space scans returned odd readings, and strange atmospheric phenomena puzzled meteorologists. A few brave pilots reported encountering objects in the sky that moved in impossible ways, too fast and precise to be natural. Captain James Carter, a retired military officer now working with space defense, studied the reports with concern. "Something's coming," he said quietly. "Something big. And we better be ready." While the alien fleets advanced, small pockets of humans began preparing. Scientists worked to understand the anomalies. Engineers modified existing technology. And military personnel trained tirelessly. It wasn't enough to stop a full-scale invasion, but it was a start. Back at the council, the alien delegates continued their discussions. They underestimated humans completely. "This will be over in weeks," said one. "A massive creature with 4 arms and scales shimmering in green and gold. They will surrender without resistance." Others nodded, sharing stories of species they had conquered easily, dismissing any concerns about Earth. "Do they have space weapons?" asked a smaller insectoid delegate. "Not that it matters. They'll break under pressure like all the others." But a few delegates hesitated. A quiet, shadowy figure observed the proceedings without speaking. It had seen humans before on reconnaissance missions, and it remembered something important. Humans adapt. Humans survive. Humans fight in ways no one expects. This figure tried to warn the council, but its words were drowned out by laughter and planning. The vote had been cast. Earth's fate was sealed, and yet humans continued unaware. On a small island in the Pacific, a young engineer named Hana Kim tested a drone designed to explore near-Earth asteroids. She watched it transmit data back to her tablet when suddenly the drone's sensors detected an unusual object in orbit. A massive shadow, too large for any human-made ship. Hana froze. "What is that?" she whispered. Her colleague, a data analyst named Leo, leaned over her shoulder. "Looks like something from space," Leo said cautiously, "but nothing we've ever seen before." They didn't know that these were only the advanced scouts of the alien fleets. Massive ships dwarfing human spacecraft were approaching. Their shapes defied imagination, constructed for war and conquest. Their presence alone caused gravitational fluctuations that subtly affected Earth's atmosphere. As night fell across Earth, the first faint signals of the alien fleet reached the planet. Satellites picked up strange energy readings, and power grids flickered inexplicably. Across the globe, humans sensed something strange, but few could articulate what it was. Most thought it was a natural anomaly, a cosmic event beyond understanding. Dr. Rivera studied the new readings and frowned. "It's not natural," she said. "This is organized. Someone or something is moving deliberately." Captain Carter convened an emergency meeting with top scientists and military leaders. "We don't know who they are or what they want," he said. "But we can't wait to find out. We have to prepare." Meanwhile, the alien council's fleets drew closer. Their communications were precise, their commands efficient. They were confident in victory. They had planned for every possible scenario except one: human unpredictability. As the fleets approached Earth's orbit, small defensive teams began to notice patterns. Humans started responding in ways the aliens had not predicted. Satellites were repositioned, radar arrays were modified, and early warning systems alerted military bases around the world. Even with limited resources, humans began to organize. Volunteer teams of engineers, scientists, and pilots worked together, improvising weapons and defenses. They knew they were outmatched, but fear was not a human weakness, it was a motivator. On the alien side, the Council believed their victory was imminent. Delegates celebrated, confident that within weeks Earth would be fully under their control. But the shadowy figure in the back of the hall remained silent, its eyes on the small blue planet, understanding a truth no one else would acknowledge. Humans were more dangerous than they looked. As Part 1 ends, the alien fleets enter the outskirts of the solar system. The first signals of confrontation begin. Humans, though unprepared for war on this scale, show signs of ingenuity, courage, and unity. The stage is set for a battle that will test the galaxy's assumptions about humanity. The story leaves the reader with tension and curiosity. How will humans respond? Can a seemingly weak species survive against overwhelming forces? And what does it truly mean to be underestimated by the galaxy?